Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning magazine, and this is a tribute to Bernie Marsden, who has sadly passed away today. In fact, I've only just heard the news. And so I want to dedicate these words, this video, to his family, his wife Fran, his daughters Charlotte and Olivia, and to Bernie Marsden fans all around the world. All of us who have been touched by this wonderful musician, this wonderful human being's music as it has followed us through our lives. And for all of you who have yet to discover the magic of Bernie Marsden's music. So I want to talk about the times of how I was introduced to Bernie's playing, the albums and tracks that have meant the most to me. I'm not going to talk about the stats and the details. I can only, when I do anything like this, just talk about what the music really meant to me and the man behind the music and how it has touched me so many times in my life. But equally, for those of you who are new to Bernie, I don't want you to feel like shut out, as if like you can't feel what's going on and why this is such a big thing. So I will kind of give some background to the tracks, the ones I've chosen, and maybe a guide to some of you who want to know what to listen to next, to learn about Bernie Marsden, or what you could, what to read, what to buy, what to go and stream. So for me personally, I have to go back to 1976, 77. I was a big Deep Purple fan. And when the band split up, I was very keen to know what all the musicians were going to be doing because I wanted to follow them, whatever they did next. Richie Blackmore had already got Rainbow, Ian Gillan had got his Ian Gillan band. But John Lord and Ian Paice went and did something fairly unusual. They formed an R&B band called Paice Ashton Lord. It was more R&B really. But the key thing was they picked a guitarist I was not familiar with, and his name was Bernie Marsden. And it was a revelation to me because his playing was melodic, a nice fat Gibson Les Paul, quite fiery as well, but he also sang. He had a really good voice on The Road Again. The guitar solos, I remember The Good Times, Sneaky Private Lee, were just magical. And this is the program from that tour from 1977. And they were great. And Bernie Marsden was such a cheerful chap. Nearly all the photos, he's smiling. It was so unusual for guitarists back then. Lead guitarists were very kind of mean and moody. I don't know what they mean, but they looked moody. And Bernie always looked like he was having the time of his life. He always looked joyous, as if he was so excited to be where he was, to be a professional musician. And in his book, which I would highly recommend, called Where's My Guitar? Buy this, because this is a memoir from a musician who wanted to be a musician. This isn't Motley Crue. This isn't partying and drugs and all the rest of it. Bernie met Fran. They're happily married. It was all about the music. This is a book about gigs, musicians, albums, recording, guitars, and and the ups and downs of will you have enough money on the table, and the lucky breaks and the not so lucky breaks. It's a musician's book that just tells the story of the times of being in a 70s rock and roll band and going through that period, and the fact, the pictures of him with Robert Plant, with Joe Bonamassa, the Allman Brothers, all these people that meant such a lot to him, Ian Paice, Neil Murray, Whitesnake, Cozy Powell, all of his bands, and also UFO. It's a great book, a genuine book that was written by someone who just loved music, who just wanted to be a professional musician and somehow get through his life playing guitar, and he did. After Paice Ashton Lord couldn't make it as a commercial thing, David Coverdale got his act together and decided to put together the band Whitesnake, and he chose Bernie Marsden to be one of his guitarists next to Mickey Moody. And the first album, Trouble, from 1978, had a track on it called Trouble, written by Bernie Marsden, and it's the best track on here, and it would be one of my recommended tracks that you should listen to, because it's Bernie Marsden had an ear for these kind of songs. He really did. And Here We Go Again was which obviously was his ace card. But I think it was born here with a track like Trouble. Bernie was also, as I said, a great vocalist. And David Coverdale, people might see him as someone who controls everything. He's Coverdale. But he was a very kind man, and he would take a step back if he felt it was good for the overall good of the band. And as a lead vocalist, for the lead vocalist to take a step back, that means he's not technically doing anything. He's going off and have a coffee somewhere. And there is a track on here called Free Flight where Bernie sings lead, and this happened again on other Whitesnake albums, which showed the confidence and the freedom that Bernie Marsden had within Whitesnake. And I went to see them on that tour, 1978, the Trouble tour, and live they were something else. I think Martin Birch tried to capture Whitesnake, but I don't think he knew really what he got in front of him. But live, they were amazing. Now, the other thing is I want to mention at this point is the courage and the confidence that Bernie Marsden had as a player, because at this point, the Deep Purple bands were taking token tracks out with them because it was their past. So Ian Gillan was doing Smoke on the Water and Child in Time, etc. It's his signature song, wasn't it? Rainbow took Mistreated out with him. And of course, Mistreated was also Coverdale's calling card. So they did Mistreated. Now, that was seen as Blackmore's engine, really, for his, rapid fire guitar solo. What were they going to do to make this Whitesnake, and for all the eyes and all the spotlights to be on Bernie Marsden? I remember being in the audience for that gig, and in fact for the next ones, Love Hunter and Ready and Willing, and every time they did Mistreated, I remember there was a guy next to me saying, well, this will be interesting, this area is going to tackle a Blackmore solo. But he didn't tackle a Blackmore solo, he created his own. He turned Mistreated into what it was always intended to be in many ways, which was a blues song. Coverdale had said at the time when he joined Deep Purple, he didn't really, the only blues he knew was being turned down by a woman or something. And this was his blues song. And Marsden took it to that point. And instead of it speeding up or whatever, he took it to a totally different place. And I feel, and I love the Rainbow version, I love the Purple one, but this one is also incredibly valid. In fact, they were all on a par with each other. But I think this became one of Bernie Marsden's showcases. And I think the fact he made it a showcase for his guitar playing within the framework of a song known by another guitarist just shows the quality of and the kind of humble nature of the man. Because I remember at the end of this was an extended solo, and you can find it on, where is it? If I've got it with me, I have. Bear with me. Live in the Heart of the City. It's on Hammersmith 1978. It's on the side 4 of this. Because I remember when he'd finished his solo, people would applaud. I saw this happen several times. There were doubters in the audience when it's a Blackmore song, and by the end of them, he'd won everybody over. With his speed, precision, but feel. No kind of exaggerated stage presence or anything. He just played the guitar. And it was absolutely incredible. The ball was rolling now. It was getting like a snowball going down the hill. It was getting bigger and bigger. So the next album, Love Hunter, 1979, came out. And Outlaw is a track on here sung by Bernie Marsden. But this had another track which I highly recommend you all listen to, and it's Walking in the Shadow of the Blues. One of the best Whitesnake songs, and the guitar solo is epic, but not because it's tremolo arm and tapping or whatever. It's just perfect for the song. And I think because Bernie Marsden was a vocalist, he thought, obviously, as a vocalist, he played like a vocalist. I've mentioned this before in other musicians I've talked about. I think it gave him an edge where he could have sung the solo, which means that when he was phrasing the solo and thinking of a voice doing it, he was thinking about how that feels when you sing, how you feel in your heart, the vibrations in your chest and your shoulders. He was feeling that in the guitar through the notes. And I think that's why his playing became so profound, really. And I believe that the light that was shining on Bernie Marsden, shone brighter and brighter as he went through his life. He was amongst loads of guitarists at this point, but as the decades all passed, and even there's an album called Shine, his playing became, the lights were on it. I think as the years went by, I started to realise just what a great player he was. I always, as I've said at this point, he was brilliant and people applauded him and that solo mistreated. But as the years rolled by and I started to listen to different things, I realised, as a player, he's up there with any guitarist you can mention. I saw him on that tour as well, at the Love Hunter tour at Birmingham Odeon, Venom by Bernie, playing the Beast, the Gibson Les Paul. And this was another fantastic gig. And again, Bernie was brilliant. But then, of course, the next one, what I want to mention, I don't know if I've got this one with me, I don't think I have, but I've got the programme, was Reading William. This was their masterstroke with Fall For Your Loving, which is an absolutely great track. It really, really is. And it was an absolutely superb album. For many people, this album is the one. It's also had a cover of Blind Man from David Coverdale's first solo album. Perhaps not quite the same feel as the solo album, but again, Bernie's solo on that is absolutely fantastic. And I saw them on that tour. You've just seen the programme. Absolutely fantastic. The next one I want to point out to you is Come and Get It, which was from 1981. And the track here is Don't Break My Heart Again, one of Whitesnake's finest songs. Again, as I say, Fall For Your Loving, the guitar solo and that's perfect. But Don't Break My Heart Again, the guitar solo, again, is so lyrical, so melodic. It's so memorable. You love hearing it. You love hearing where it's going to go. You love that slight little echo on some of the notes. It's just fantastic. At this time, Bernie's light was burning like phosphorus. It was just everywhere, to such a point that in Japan, it felt like we needed a Bernie Marsden solo album. Now this one, and About Time Too, features some amazing musicians: Simon Phillips, Don Airey, Ian Paice, Cozy Powell, Jack Bruce. There's like jazz fusion on here where he plays like a demon, Ed the Ball. There's a ballad called Still the Same, which is fantastic. But look at that cover. You see, Bernie was a true musician who just wanted to play guitar. And for many of us of a certain age, this idea of clocking in, which you had to do when I worked in factories, and obviously he's got there late because he's been playing, he's carrying his guitar in the background. I think the picture on the middle, there we go. He's late again. He's got his guitar, he's been out playing a gig. So I just identified with that. And this is from 1979. It's Japanese only to start with, but it's a brilliant album. As I said, there's lots of tracks to listen to. Still the Same, You're the One, Song for Fran, which is for his wife, Sad Clown, Brief Encounter, fantastic. And I hope I've mentioned Babe Ruth, the album Stealing Home. There's some great tracks on that as well. I'm sorry I'm jumping around a bit, but I'm talking about Bernie Marsden, and this is cathartic for me to try and to get how I'm feeling out by trying pointing you towards things I would love you to listen to. About Time Too is also available on CD. There was a follow-up to that called Look at Me Now, which is rockier, a great album. And then this one, Shine, which features David Coverdale. And as I said, this is 2014. This came out on Mascot Records. He really was back in an ascendant here. He really was, and I'd recommend that as well. There's all the things that I'm mentioning. I feel like I've probably not mentioned Reading Willing enough, but those albums are great. They really are. Well, and I've mentioned his book, I guess, and I've mentioned Paice Ashton Lord to get that on CD. I've recently, and this is an important part, and I'll finish on this, is Bernie Marsden, Big Boy Blues and Green, the box set that came out from Cherry Road Records. And this was the most recent stuff that I'd got from Bernie. As I'm talking now, I'm realising the enormity of what I'm talking about, really. And because this is where I hoped I'd have a chance to talk to him and say thank you to all the music and stuff. But if I was going to pick something from this period, I'd pick the live album, Live at the Granary. I think they were squished up a corner with about 200 people in the room, might even be less than that. And the guitar playing is just amazing. And also Green and Blues, which was his tribute to Peter Green, is absolutely fantastic. So those are some albums and some tracks that you can shuffle together into a playlist and listen to. Or if you've got the albums around on CD or vinyl, just pick one and put one on. I think, what shall I put on? If I was going to pick 5 songs for Bernie Marsden, what would I do? I think Fall For Your Loving would be one of them. Or Ain't Gonna Cry No More? No, Fall For Your Loving. Don't Break My Heart Again. And of course, the one I've not mentioned, of course, is Here I Go Again, which is the most famous one, which obviously did him very well. Good for him. He deserved, the money he made from that when Whitesnake had a second hit with it. I'd also pick Still the Same, if I've got that right. I know what I'm like doing this. Yeah, Still the Same off his first solo album is absolutely brilliant as well. And then, yeah, and Here I Go Again from this one. It's probably the version I'd pick from the Live at the Granary because it's so raw and stripped back to the absolute basics. And then if I've got room for one more track, I think it would be a really happy tune. And this one's apt. It would be from Paice Ashton Lord, and it would be Remember the Good Times. Because that's what we have to do at times like this. We have to celebrate Bernie Marsden's music. We have to keep playing it. We have to think of the way the music makes us feel, the good times we've had watching Bernie play live, whether it's live in person or even on YouTube, in your mind's eye, as you sit back with your headphones on and just close your eyes and listen to the guitar playing of this wonderful guy. And I would finally just again, to give you an insight to the man and the kind of person he was then, Where's My Guitar? And the autobiography is well worth reading. So thank you for watching this tribute to Bernie Marsden. And again, my respects go out to his family, Fran, Charlotte and Olivia. Everybody take care of yourselves. Music is the doctor and the healer. And healing with music is a journey, not a destination. So take care, everybody. Thank you for being here with me for this. And I shall see you very, very soon.